There exists a moment in every person's life when they stand at the edge of possibility, gazing into the vast ocean of what could be, wondering if the dreams swirling in their mind are merely fantasies or blueprints waiting to be built. This moment feels both electric and terrifying, like standing before a door that has no visible handle, yet seems to pulse with an invitation to enter. What if the very act of wanting something could somehow call it into existence? What if the universe operates not as a cold, indifferent machine, but as a responsive canvas that paints itself according to the brushstrokes of our deepest intentions? The concept of effortless manifestation sounds almost too magical to be real, yet it whispers of something ancient and forgotten, a lost art that our ancestors might have understood instinctively. Picture a gardener who doesn't frantically dig and replant every day, but who understands the seasons, the soil, and the subtle dance between effort and surrender. This gardener knows that some of the most beautiful flowers bloom not from force, but from creating the right conditions and then stepping back to allow nature's intelligence to work its quiet miracles. In our modern world, we've been taught that everything worthwhile requires struggle, that dreams are earned through grinding determination and relentless hustle. We've forgotten that the universe itself formed from apparent nothingness, that stars are born in the silence between heartbeats, and that the most profound changes often happen when we're not looking directly at them. The mind tricks that actually work for manifestation aren't really tricks at all. They're rediscovered principles that align us with the natural flow of creation itself. These 5 approaches operate like keys that unlock doors we didn't even know existed within our own consciousness. They work not by forcing reality to bend to our will, but by dissolving the invisible barriers that keep us separated from what we desire. Think of them as gentle adjustments to an internal radio, fine-tuning the frequency until the static clears, and we can hear the song that was always playing in the background. The journey we're about to embark on together will take us through landscapes of the mind that feel both foreign and familiar, like returning to a childhood home after decades away. We'll discover that the most powerful manifestation happens not through complex rituals or desperate pleading with the universe, but through a kind of elegant simplicity that allows our natural creative power to flow unobstructed. Each mind trick we explore will reveal another layer of this hidden architecture, showing us that effortless manifestation isn't about getting what we want. It's about remembering who we already are. Beneath the surface of conscious thought lies a realm where intention meets possibility, where the seeds of tomorrow take root in the fertile soil of present moment awareness. The 5 mind tricks that actually work for manifestation operate like ancient pillars supporting a temple of creation, each one holding up a different aspect of the mysterious process by which thoughts become things. These aren't mere techniques to be applied mechanically, but living principles that invite us into a deeper dance with the creative forces that shape reality itself. The first pillar rests on the foundation of what we might call relaxed intention, the art of wanting without grasping, of desiring without desperation. Imagine a master archer who draws the bow with perfect tension, aims with complete focus, and then releases the arrow with total surrender. The arrow finds its target not through the archer's continued effort after release, but through the perfect balance of preparation and letting go. This is the paradox at the heart of effortless manifestation. The more we can hold our desires lightly, the more freely they can move toward us. The second pillar emerges from the recognition that our subconscious mind speaks in images, emotions, and sensations rather than words and logic. It's like discovering that we've been trying to communicate with our deepest creative faculties in a foreign language, when all along they were waiting for us to speak in their native tongue of feeling and visualization. When we learn to paint our desires with the vivid colors of emotion and wrap them in the sensory details of lived experience, we begin to collaborate with the part of ourselves that actually orchestrates the subtle shifts in perception and behavior that bring our visions to life. The third pillar stands upon the understanding that gratitude is not just a polite gesture toward the universe, but a powerful alchemical force that transforms the very substance of our reality. When we genuinely appreciate what we already have, we create an energetic resonance that attracts more of the same frequency. It's as if gratitude acts like a tuning fork. It's causing everything in our environment to vibrate in harmony with abundance and possibility. The fourth pillar recognizes that resistance is not something to be overcome through force, but something to be understood and integrated. Every doubt, every fear, every limiting belief carries within it valuable information about the deeper currents of our psyche. When we learn to welcome these apparent obstacles as messengers rather than enemies, we discover that they often contain the keys to dissolving the very barriers they seem to represent. The fifth pillar culminates in the realization that effortless manifestation happens not through doing more, but through becoming more aligned with our authentic nature, but expressions of it, and that our desires are often the universe's way of calling us toward our highest potential. It's the recognition that we are not separate from the creative power of the universe. In the depths of human consciousness, there exists a library of stories that have been told and retold across countless generations, each one carrying within it the encoded wisdom of how reality responds to the deepest stirrings of the human heart. These are not mere fairy tales or mythological curiosities, but living maps that chart the territory of manifestation itself, showing us through symbol and metaphor what our logical minds sometimes struggle to grasp directly. Consider the ancient tale of the fisherman who cast his net into the same waters every day, coming home each evening with barely enough to feed his family. One morning, instead of rushing to his boat with worry creasing his brow, he sat quietly by the shore and watched the sun paint golden pathways across the water's surface. In that moment of stillness, he noticed patterns in the waves he had never seen before, subtle signs that revealed where the fish gathered in abundance. From that day forward, his nets overflowed not because he worked harder, but because he had learned to read the water's secret language. This fisherman discovered the first mind trick of effortless manifestation, that clarity comes not from anxious effort, but from the peaceful observation that allows us to perceive opportunities that were always there, waiting to be noticed. The story continues with a merchant who traveled from village to village, her cart heavy with goods, but her purse light with coins. She would arrive in each new town, focused intently on what she lacked, counting her meager earnings with fingers that trembled with worry. One day, exhausted and discouraged, she sat beneath a flowering tree and began to marvel at the intricate beauty of its blossoms. She appreciated the tree's generous display of nature's artistry. A child approached and asked if she had any small trinkets to trade. The merchant, moved by the child's curiosity, began to share stories about each item in her cart, and soon a crowd had gathered, drawn not by her desperation to sell, but by the joy and wonder she radiated when speaking about her treasures. This merchant embodied the second mind trick, that when we shift our focus from scarcity to appreciation, we naturally become magnetic to the abundance that surrounds us. The final character in this ancient narrative is the gardener, who, planted seeds with such force and frequency that nothing could take root in the disturbed soil. Frustrated by his garden's barrenness, he finally learned to plant with gentle intention, water with patience, and trust in the unseen intelligence that knows exactly when and how each plant should emerge. His garden bloomed not because he controlled every aspect of growth, but because he created the conditions for natural abundance to unfold. This gardener mastered the art of surrendered action, understanding that the most powerful manifestation happens when we align our efforts with the natural rhythms of creation rather than forcing outcomes through will alone. The bridge between the mystical realm of manifestation and the practical world of everyday existence is built from moments of conscious choice. Each decision serving as a stepping stone that carries us from the land of possibility into the territory of lived experience. When we begin to understand that these 5 mind tricks are not abstract concepts, but practical tools that can be woven into the fabric of our daily routines, we discover that transformation doesn't require dramatic life changes, but rather subtle shifts in how we approach the ordinary moments that make up our days. The art of relaxed intention begins to flower in the morning, moments before we fully wake. When we can set the tone for our day not through rigid planning, but through a gentle inquiry into what wants to emerge. Instead of jumping immediately into the familiar patterns of worry about deadlines or frustration about circumstances, we learn to ask ourselves what would feel most aligned, and then hold that vision lightly as we move through our morning routine. This might mean visualizing a successful presentation while brushing our teeth, or feeling the satisfaction of a completed project while brewing coffee. Always with the understanding that we are planting seeds rather than demanding immediate harvest. The language of the subconscious mind becomes our companion throughout the day as we begin to notice the constant stream of internal imagery and emotion that accompanies our thoughts. When we catch ourselves rehearsing scenarios of failure or limitation, we can pause and consciously redirect our inner movie, painting new scenes filled with the colors of success and possibility. This isn't about denying reality or forcing positive thinking, but about recognizing that our imagination is constantly creating inner experiences that shape our outer circumstances. And we have the power to become conscious directors of this internal cinema. Gratitude transforms from an occasional practice into a way of seeing that colors every interaction and observation. We begin to notice the abundance that surrounds us in forms we might have previously overlooked: the reliability of our breathing, the miracle of our heartbeat, the countless acts of service that bring food to our table and warmth to our homes. This appreciative awareness creates a foundation of contentment that paradoxically makes space for even greater abundance to flow into our lives. The integration of resistance becomes a daily practice of curiosity rather than conflict. When we encounter obstacles or setbacks, we learn to greet them as information rather than opposition. It's asking what they might be teaching us about our approach or revealing about hidden assumptions we've been carrying. This transforms challenges from evidence of our limitations into opportunities for deeper understanding and more authentic alignment with our true desires. Perhaps most importantly, we begin to recognize that effortless manifestation is not about acquiring external things, but about becoming more fully ourselves, allowing our authentic nature to express itself through the vehicle of our daily choices and interactions. As we reach the end of this exploration, we find ourselves standing in a place that feels both entirely new and mysteriously familiar. Like awakening from a dream, only to realize that the dream was showing us something we had always known, but had forgotten how to remember. The 5 mind tricks that actually work for effortless manifestation have revealed themselves not as techniques to be mastered, but as natural capacities to be reclaimed. Dormant abilities that were waiting patiently within us for the moment, when we would be ready to recognize them as our birthright. The journey we have taken together through the landscapes of relaxed intention, subconscious communion, grateful awareness, integrated resistance, authentic alignment has shown us that manifestation is not about manipulating reality from the outside, but about removing the veils that obscure our natural creative power. We have discovered that the universe is not a vending machine that dispenses rewards in exchange for the correct sequence of actions, but a living field of possibility that responds to the deepest truth of who we are and what we genuinely desire to create. The fisherman who learned to read the water's secret language teaches us that clarity comes not from frantic searching, but from patient observation. The merchant who transforms scarcity into abundance through appreciation shows us that what we focus on expands, and that our perspective shapes our reality more than our circumstances. The gardener who mastered surrendered action reveals that the most powerful manifestation happens when we align our efforts with natural rhythms, rather than forcing outcomes through will alone. These archetypal figures live within each of us, waiting to be awakened whenever we choose to approach our desires with the wisdom they embody. They remind us that effortless manifestation is not about getting what we want, but about becoming who we truly are, and that our deepest desires are often the universe's way of calling us toward our highest potential. As you move forward from this moment, carry with you the understanding that you are not separate from the creative power that shapes reality, but an expression of it. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every choice you make is a brushstroke on the canvas of your experience. The 5 mind tricks are not rules to follow, but invitations to remember the natural ease with which you can paint your life into existence. The transformation that awaits you is not a destination to reach, but a way of being to embody. It begins with the next breath you take, the next thought you choose, the next moment you decide to trust in the profound intelligence that orchestrates the dance between your deepest longings and their manifestation in the world. Step forward into this remembering, and watch as the ordinary moments of your life become extraordinary expressions of your creative power. The universe is waiting to collaborate with you, and the canvas of possibility stretches endlessly before you, ready to receive whatever masterpiece you choose to create.